How's it going, guys? So I just figured I'd jump back on this live stream. I had a couple phone calls, so I had to jump off. But seeing if any of you guys had any questions regarding the trucking industry, ask me any questions regarding trucking or being owner operator. Be happy to try to help you out with any of those. So like I said, gonna be doing these once a week again. Hi, how's it going? Volvit, how are you? Awesome. We got some people coming in here. So I figured maybe doing a little bit later would be a little bit better. Do this a little bit later. So I said, ask me any questions you have. I'd be happy to try to help you out. Got a few people rolling in. Thank you for the thumbs up. My dad works where you work. That's awesome. Where does he work at? Why is gear ratio 355 so popular? I think it's way more popular because it gets good fuel economy, and it has a lot better pulling power. Higher gear ratios got a lot more torque, power for pulling the hills. So it's not too high. Like 325 ratio or a 315 is going to be a lot better for. Hi, how's it going? Kevin at John. Sorry about that, man. And then so basically, Marty, basically a 355 is going to be it's going to be best of both worlds. For me, I like 391 ratios because I pull a lot of hills with a lot of weight. So better gearing for pulling those hills. So no problem. Let's see. DD15. Just got a fresh overall on my 06 14-liter Series 60. I want to block the EGR. Where would I put blocking plates in the cooler? Okay. This is blocking the EGR. Basically, you can electronically do that, or you can just weld the flap shut or weld it open. I'm sorry, whichever way doesn't allow the exhaust to enter the intake. I haven't really blocked the plates on the cooler yet. I haven't blocked the cooler. Okay, so you already turned it off. So are you just wanting the coolant to stop flowing through it? That gets a little more complicated. I never stopped the coolant from flowing through it. How we do it is we just weld the door shut so it can't turn on, and then basically go from there. Oh, if you have an 06, so basically if you have an 06, you don't have a DPF, right? You just have EGR. So let me know, DD15, if just EGR. Okay. Now, there is a chip you can buy out there. It's like $100, and it basically, did you put that on there, that like $100 chip that tricks it, think it's in high altitude, or did you actually get like a custom computer file? That would be important. Thanks for the thumbs up. Let's see here. All right, so you got a custom tuning. He tuned it to 550 and turned off from ECM. Okay, that works. Let's see here. I guess I'm trying to figure out, are you having problems with it, or do you just want to block the EGR to be safe? Like, what problems are you having? That would help me kind of better help you out to see kind of what problems you're having with it. Because usually if you tune it out and then you have the custom tune, you got no problems, that's all good. Marty, what do you know about the D11? I don't know too much about the D11, unfortunately. Not a whole lot about it. Thanks for the thumbs up, guys. So Bolvit commented Mexico. I don't work in Mexico. So saying something about Mexico. I don't work in Mexico. Let's see here. I don't know, Marty. Did you know about the D? Was there something in relevance to the D11 that you wanted to make a suggestion about? Let's talk Mercedes engines. Okay. I don't know too much about the Mercedes engines unless they're, Detroit's, or some people can argue that they're derivatives of the Mercedes engines. I know a couple guys had Mercedes engines, and one of them's a good buddy of mine. He's an owner operator, family friend, and he had pretty good luck with his. All right, so DD15. I just to be on the safe side, no issues yet, but I just got the overhaul, which is always. I'm from Toronto. Every 2 weeks, we need emissions test, and all physically jarred parts has to be on the engine to pass. Okay, so if you want to just be safe, I would have your mechanic or somebody who's familiar with the situation basically just weld the door shut, the flap, or weld the flap either shut or open, whichever way doesn't allow the exhaust to go back into the motor. That would be your best bet. That's what I do on ours. We basically just weld the EGR, weld it shut, or let's see, weld the flap to leave it shut so it doesn't go into the motor. You do that. And we would weld it on the intake side going into the intake. So where the EGR comes up and around into the intake, weld that shut. So basically everything else looked good. Yep, it is. Marty, yeah, you're right. Mercedes is a derivative of Detroit. Yep. That's I've had pretty positive experiences from it. I know some people are scared of it. Some of the Detroit motors might be a little bit more problematic, but as far as the 60 series, they're pretty good. Yes. Okay. So DD15. So leave the cooler to flow coolant from water pump to oil pump. Yeah. I don't cut off any coolant because I was going to, because I kind of had that similar thought that you might be having, but I like to leave all the coolant running because I was scared if I, blocked off coolant, I wouldn't get as good a volume or flow. So yeah, I just left all the coolant lines on and just welded the door shut so that it cannot open again. And because some tunes it's kind of weird. Let's see here. So basically, a lot of the tuning, they'll electronically limit the EGR, but they won't electronically get rid of it altogether, which is kind of bizarre to me. I don't know why you'd want EGR sometime. You don't want EGR anytime, in my opinion. So yeah, leave all the coolant lines. That's the best way we did it. And then let's see here. Can you make money with Amazon Power only? It's hard. I was I got an Amazon contract out of Denver, and also I got subcontracted to potentially run those out of Denver at a point where we were kind of slow with the company. So we hired out with a company that did a lot of Amazon, and they said it's kind of hit or miss. It paid good sometimes, but it's real last minute. There's no consistency to it. So you can make money, but you kind of have to know, you kind of have to subcontract to guys that already do it. You can get your own contract for it, but they require a lot of insurance, and they will basically make you provide a lot of information to qualify to do that. But you can, but it's inconsistent. I've heard both ways. It's kind of one of those things. Some guy said, "Yeah, I made money," but then I only worked for a couple days, and some guy said it wasn't that good of money, but I run a lot. So let's see here. Ben Dover. Is that your? Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. Yeah. So if you have any other questions regarding that, just feel free to ask me, because that's just from my personal experience. It's real hit or miss. Gabriel, greetings from Monterrey, Mexico. Is that Mexico? MX? Am I missing something? Hey, how you doing? Greetings. Marty, you actually want EGR the first 30 minutes when you start, when it's cold, brother. Well, I don't want exhaust going back in my intake for any reason, to be honest, Marty. Because that's, they wonder why motors fail, and you've got exhaust gases, going back into your intake. That's just not clean air. You even if that is a good thing to do, you don't want it after that. So in my opinion, it's better not to have it than to have it at all, because the risk of exhaust gas going back in the intake is just never a good thing. They talk about clean diesel. There's nothing clean about my exhaust going back into my intake. There's nothing clean about that. Let's see, Marty, how old are you? I'm 29, but I started real young doing this, so been about 9-10 years. Let's see, what do you think about Cummins ISX15? It's a lot of, about half the guys that have them love them and they've been good, and about half of the guys that have them don't like them because they've had problems. I really wanted a T800 heavy spec truck, and my problem with the Cummins is I would search all the listings, and if there were 10 listings, about, no joke, 4 or 5 of them would have 500,000, 400,000 miles on them, instead of they had been freshly rebuilt. So that kind of scared me away from Cummins, because I was like, well, why are half the trucks I'm looking at already had to be rebuilt at 300,000 or 400,000? It'll be good for another 800,000 to $1 million. Well, then I'm thinking to myself, if I buy one that has been rebuilt, it's right around the corner, and there's no way I'm gonna go spend $80,000 on a truck and then have to worry about it being rebuilt. Well, it's not always the case. So that's what I think about Cummins. I'm just not willing to take that chance. But a good buddy of mine, that's an owner operator, he has one and he likes it. It's been good to him. So I guess if it works for you, it works. But I personally don't want to gamble too much with them. Not at this point. For International Pro Star, D's World. Internationals, man. What are you gonna be doing with the truck, I guess? So that's why I had to ask. And then what year is that Cummins? Because 12, a lot of problems. They had a lot of recalls. They had a lot of cracked heads. And then Gabriel Castro, Mexico, been following you for some time now. Great videos. Thanks for sharing. Hey man, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm here to try to help you guys out. Giving bobtail insurance, or as far as your let's see here. So you're wondering for as far as your bobtail insurance or general liability insurance. I personally just go through Progressive. Even now, they're a little bit more expensive, but they're the easiest point of entry. Yeah, I would just go through Progressive. They're going to be the easiest to insure you, the most hassle-free. They might be more expensive, but depending on if you have experience or not, or you haven't been insured before, once you've been insured for a couple of years, you can go to other carriers and get better rates. But you have to be insured underneath somebody for at least a year or two before other insurance companies will take you. Eddie, hello, Eddie. Gabriel Castro, don't know if some PNA asked you before, but what truck would you recommend? Uh, man, that's what truck would I recommend? Something that's depends on what are you looking to do with it? Are you looking for an over the road truck? Are you looking for a local truck, heavy spec truck? Try to find some of the Detroit 60 series in it. That's what I would say. Eddie, love the videos as I look into becoming an arbor. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm here to help you guys out. So, just keep on watching them. I'm trying to get more on a schedule of uploading. I uploaded, been uploading a couple times a week, just trying to keep it up. But also, I'm an owner operator myself, so I only have 2 days a week that I'm available to, make the videos and do the live streams. And then also come up with topics too, come with topics that you guys might want to. What do you recommend as far as factoring? Let's see. I have a company. I used to do factor. I don't factor anymore. When I had contracts, I did do factoring when I had all my company trucks. There's basically factoring companies all over. I used one out of Denver. I'll have to take a second look here in a little bit. Ask me again in a few minutes and I can see if I can't find out who that company was. But I used a company out of Denver, and there's a lot of different companies. This company is pretty good. They took like 2 or 3%. It was based on your gross. So for me, since my company is grossy enough, I didn't factor. It didn't cost you too much. It cost me like 2 or 3%. But if you're a single owner operator, they'll probably charge you about 5% or a little bit more than that. But yeah, I mean, you need that money. You need it when you need it. You can't wait 3 to 4 weeks to get paid. So I understand it's kind of one of those necessary things that sucks, but you got to do it. D's World, I got my second warning for driving in left lane, no truck lane. What do you think about that? Were you passing traffic? Is that why you're in the left lane, or were you just hanging in the left lane? I mean, I'm all about that left lane gang, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm always hauling ass, but I guess I would ask, if you're passing somebody, that's bull crap if you got a ticket for it. And honestly, like, I don't like being in the right lane because, I'm in a truck and I'm loaded and I'm doing the speed limit, maybe a little bit over, and I'm, getting back in that right lane. I have to get right back over it because there's someone that's slowing me down, and then you get sandwiched. So yeah, that's crap. That's what I think about that. That sucks. But I mean, if some trooper's following you and you're in the left lane, you're holding up traffic, and he's been following you for a long time, and you don't see him, and then he gives you a warning, that's a different story. I would think that if you're just doing it to get somewhere faster and don't want to be in and out of lanes, then that's not cool. Let's see here. Marty, hashtag glider truck Mercedes. Glider truck Detroit is what I would tell you, or 3406 Cat, or N14 Cummins. If I was to do a glider truck, definitely I wouldn't DD15. How much will be roughly estimate to replace all leaf spring bushings, tie rods, etc.? Let's see. Are you talking about leaf springs like DD15? So are you talking about having them the labor and the parts, or just the parts, or just the labor? And then are you talking about all of them, like for the whole truck, or just the fronts, backs? Because those are gonna be a lot different in price as well. These, yes, I was passing traffic. That's what happened to me. That's bullcrap, man. That sucks. If you're passing traffic and you got a warning for it, man, that's ridiculous. And it goes on your CSA. Wow. Yeah, that's true. Warning does. You're right. Yeah, that's crap, man. Where are you at? Were you on the East Coast? I bet I would either you're in let me guess, you're either in California or you're somewhere out east, like Vermont or something, or a Maryland or something. I'll be curious where you were. Pennsylvania. Yep, I could have guessed that. That sucks, man. Yeah, that's crap. Yeah, especially if you're passing traffic. Yeah, and especially because you didn't get a speeding ticket, so you weren't speeding, or they couldn't verify you were speeding, but you passed on the left lane and got a ticket or a warning. That's crap, man. I mean, yeah, that sucks, man. I'm sorry to hear that. That's one of those hard things about our day-to-day lives. You get these warnings for some BS, and then let's see, Marty. It should say trucks left lane. I don't know if I understand what you're saying, Marty. And then Ray, you're awesome for answering. Thanks. You bet, man. Right now, while I'm still a small channel, I can answer these. But yeah, they're coming in fast. DD50 mean in Texas, I always stay on no truck lane. I ain't gonna wait for two Swift trucks to pass each other. Texas costs be chilling. Yeah, I mean, I run at night, to be honest with you, just because it's way easier. And if you're a little heavy, it's a little easier too, if you know what I mean. If you're hauling some of them heavier loads, it's a little bit easier if you haul at night. Not as much stuff to slow you down or no warnings to be given. Let's see. The man right chair. I'm up in the BE itch to hear this word. What's best insurance company for new authority? Progressive is going to be the easiest way to enter that market. They're not going to be the cheapest. The problem is you can't get the cheapest companies because they want you to have experience having your own authority and insured. So going to their insurance companies, they're going to ask you, how long have you been in business? And then you're going to say, oh, well, I've been in business 5 years. Well, how long have you been insured for? So they're going to ask you, basically how long you've been insured for. So you basically got to, Progressive's the easiest to get on with. They don't have a lot of pre-qualifications. They'll insure anybody. It just might be a little more expensive. Who should I call for insurance from my new authority? There's a bunch of brokers out there that will have basically, there's both, just like insurance brokers with anything else. You have insurance brokers that are going to have 4 or 5 different brokers trying to find the best insurance, and they all circle back to Progressive. I was like, why are you guys circling back to Progressive? I told you I don't want to pay that much. And they said, well, this is all we have to offer a newer trucking company. And I had been doing it for 2 years. So, and even at that point, they still were like, yeah, it's pretty much the only people insuring right now. Let's see here. So hopefully that answers your question. Just look for trucking insurance brokers. Diesel, and I said Pennsylvania. Talk about down payment to buying a truck. All right. So what do you want to know about down payment? Basically, down payment is going to be 10 to 25% with okay to decent credit. And then after that, if you have bad credit, they're going to want 35% down. And I've even seen 50% down. I mean, if you want to get crazy about it, but then, man, if you're looking for how much should you save up? Well, I'd say $20,000 would be probably a pretty safe bet. For a used truck, there's no reason you should have to pay over $60,000 to $80,000 for a used truck, a good used truck that's got low miles and has got the right setup for what you're doing. And I know it kind of, a lot of these answers are open-ended, but there's a lot of different variants, if you're of different trucking industries and specialties. So basically, if you're looking to spend $60,000 for a truck, 15,000 is 25%, and I guarantee you can almost get approved with that, with having $15,000 down. If you have really bad credit, they might ask for upwards of 35 to 50%. But if that's the case, and you're looking at having to put 30 grand down, then you might as well just find a truck for 30,000, or a way cheaper truck that maybe take a little more of a gamble, because that's a lot of money to put up, especially if you still need your money set aside, for expenses and getting yourself out of a pickle or a bad situation later on down the road. 128372039 views. Had 2 rough days at Cali Way Station. My tandems were heavy. Had to find a box truck. It wasn't easy. Wish I had advice on that kind of situation. Well, they make those. Are you a owner operator, company driver? Because if you're a company driver, you might want to go weigh before you're going through weigh stations and look at how heavy you are on your axles and make sure you're not over. That's the best advice I can give you. And if you're an owner operator, you can buy Bluetooth or Wi-Fi scale airlines that basically will you basically have to zero them out, and then they'll show you how heavy you are. So you can have basically electronic readers inside your cab to show on that side. Let's see here. D's World. So 10 grand for maintenance is enough to start off. Yeah. 10 grand just set into an account. And then that doesn't account for your down payment on your truck. 10 grand's a little thin, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. 10 grand's a little skinny. You might want to fatten that up a little bit. Get 15. 15 is adequate. 20 would be really good, because I tell you what, you sit out for a week or two, that money goes down, brother. You know how that is. Like, that money goes down real quick. So, I would definitely start with 15 or 20 grand if you can. 10 grand will do it, but you got to watch yourself. You got to be careful. Make sure every decision you're making is calculated at that point. But you could do it. It's possible. I think I started with 15, about 10 or 15. But I was kind of doing more of like, I already had a company to go to. Everything was all set up for me. I was hired on to a company I knew about. I really had my ducks in a row as far as, like, I knew I had work day one as soon as I signed the contract to buy the truck. So with 10 or 15, I was pretty safe. But it depends on that too. I mean, if you're ready to go to a company right now and you know exactly where you go, they're going to hire you. You just got to buy the truck. You can do it with 10 grand. Let's see here. And let me know any other questions on that. If I covered that. Ray Torres, do you think running 2 trucks is difficult? Yes, it is. Let me ask you this, Ray. Are you going to be driving one, and then you're going to have driver in the second one, or are both the trucks you're just going to manage both of them and have 2 different drivers? Or are you going to have 4 drivers and slip seat both of them? Yeah, it is. I mean, anytime you have to bring employees into the situation and hire drivers, it's going to be difficult for sure. Leonard Holland, is it better to finance a truck and lease on to company, or just get your authority out the gate? I would basically finance the truck and lease onto a company at first, because that's going to be a lot safer and a lot less liability on your end, and it's going to be a lot less chance of failure that way. Just because getting your own authority is going to be expensive, and there's a lot of paperwork involved. And if you don't do it just right, that could put you in a bind too. And then hiring that company to get your MCS 90 and all that stuff that basically allows you to get your own authority, that can take 30 days or so to get that. And then if you have a hang up with that, and then you're looking for contracts and they come by and say, hey, your authority isn't valid or something isn't right, that's the last you want to do. So but it also depends on how much money you have. I mean, if you have a lot of money saved up and you can weather that storm, then go ahead and do it if that's what you want to do. But I would definitely finance a truck, and then lease onto a company. And then, you can kind of build up a safety net, learn your way around learn the lay of the land, make little mistakes, but you're not going to drown yourself because you're still kind of driving for a company. That's what I would recommend out the gate. Let's see. I was told to get an A+ rated insurance company. I think Progressive. What is Progressive rated? I think Progressive is A+. Okay, so diesel road. So $10K for maintenance count after down payment, $10K. Yeah, you should be good. As long as you know where you're going, you got a good plan. I made a video about, is now a good time to become an owner operator? And long story short, if you have a plan, then it is good. So, yeah, I think you'll be all right. Just make sure you watch every decision's got to be calculated. Work as hard as you can. Don't take days off. Definitely. Because, like once you get going, it's easy to save up another 10 grand too. So then if you work your ass off and you make good decisions, you'll have 20 grand in no time. Okay. Progressive is the man, right? Progressive way, way too damn high. I get it, man. It is. It's expensive. That's the only downfall. But if you are a new trucking company, it's going to be hard for you to find insurance, especially for your own authority. Is that, I'm going to make sure you're the one that was asking about that. Yeah. So getting insurance for new authority is not easy. And unfortunately, it's kind of one of those things you got to pay to play. At least that's what I ran into. And I had a lot of experience driving before I got my own authority too. So I had like 5 years before I got my own authority. That helped me, but like I talked to 4 or 5 different brokers and all of them circled back around to Progressive because I asked them why this is. And they said, there's not a whole lot of insurance companies insuring trucking companies, nonetheless, new authority trucking companies. So they're willing to do it. So you got to pay to play. And like I said, maybe do it for 6 months or a year. And with that experience, just keep on searching. The best way I can say is talk to other owner operators to see who they're insured from. That's what I did. There's a buddy of mine that was insured down in Denver by a company. He's paying way cheap, really cheap. And so, just ask, I don't know if he's still insured. I don't know if he's still working or not, but just ask guys around. It's not easy to find those companies, but they're out there. D's World. What do you think? What freight going to look like first quarter 2021? When do you think it's the best time to buy a truck? 2021. I think freight's picking up already. It has been picking up for the last couple of months. Basically, I got a buddy of mine that hauls flatbed, and he's staying pretty busy. It was slow during the economic situation. It was slow for him for a month or two, but now he's getting back running, especially with the holiday season. Well, it kind of depends on what you're hauling. I mean, holiday season kind of slows down for some people, but if you're like a U.S. mail carrier, you're going to pick up. So you're going to get if you're just hauling straight freight, D's World, are you looking to haul? Like, what are you looking to haul? Like dry van, flatbed, like what are you looking to haul? That would be I could give you a better estimate of what's going on. Bill Jones, how's it going? How did you get business credit with a new startup? I didn't. Basically, I just saved my money and I went and financed a truck, and then I got hired on to a company. So that's kind of what I did. I didn't get business credit for a new startup. I basically started my second business. I had credit cards. I used a couple of credit cards, and, got like $10,000, $15,000 limits just for emergencies, but I didn't really get a business loan as far as like I was going to, but honestly, you don't have to. I didn't find the need to. because like a new startup, like when I think of like, oh, I'm trying to finance a new startup, I think of like something that's not really been done before. But as far as a new startup, a trucking company, that's not really like a new idea. People have done that a lot. So as far as that's concerned, a bank will finance you for a truck. Let's see here. D's World, Dry Van, Hazmat. Let's see. Basically, I think there's freight out there, man. Honestly, for hazmat especially, that's a specialty. Dry van, not a lot of guys are wanting to do that. So I think freight is it's kind of it's progressively getting better. 2021 is supposed to be a good year, just because they've caused such a supply crunch right now with the whole with all the economic situation out there the last couple months. A lot of places shut down, so they stopped manufacturing materials. So it kind of caused a supply crunch. Like housing market right now, that's what's happening. Um, so basically, I think 2021, if all this stuff kind of goes away, which we're all hoping for, so we can just go get back to work, I think there's going to be huge demand. They're going to be trying to haul supplies like there's no tomorrow because everything was shut down for months and months and months. They'll be trying to catch up. Like there's a lot of construction projects. There's a lot of projects out there right now that they have had on hold, or they're just going so slow because they can't per mile cost per truck. Okay, so basically I can do it by the day because I don't get paid I get paid by the mile, but I get paid by the load. So I would say my operating cost is about $200 to $300 a day. That's with let's see. So you do about 800 to 1,000 a day. That's gross. You're gonna spend 150 in fuel, 100 to maybe 100 to 150 in fuel, maybe a little more. With all the deductions, with like the trailer, what they charge for trailer, that's going to be roughly about, I would say, I'd factor about $300 a day is your operating expenses. So per mile, I mean, it's kind of hard for me I don't really get paid like off the actual mile. I get paid more by the load. So that's kind of how I factor it. I can break that down, but I'm pretty much driving probably about 200 to 300 miles per shift. And then, but that's going to be different if you have employees. So if you have a driver in the truck, now that $300 just turned into $400. So you better hope you're making something because you're not going to make anything by the time the day is done. Okay, so Ray Torres, I have 16 Cascadian Just Bike 02 Classic that I'm hopping in and hopefully find someone to drive the Cascadia. Okay, I'm scatterbrained, so I'm going to go back to your previous question. Yeah, Ray, it can be difficult. But the good thing is that if you're driving one of the trucks, you're going to be making the money from that truck. So that's a good thing. Like you're taking home your own money. You're only paying one salary, but you're also making the other salary. So what I mean by that is if you were putting two drivers in two different trucks and you're just wanting to sit on the sideline, that's not going to be cost effective. So yeah, if you're driving one of the truck, that's what makes it difficult to me is you got to make sure you're making money. And then it is difficult because that second truck can end up cost you a lot of money. Because if that driver hurts that truck or damages the truck, then it can end up costing you money, and then you're still working your butt off. But yeah, it's possible. If you haven't had a driver before, you're gonna learn a lot of BS, man. I mean, there's drivers are not gonna show up. They're gonna break your stuff, but it's just cost of doing business. It's anywhere you work, If you have a clothing store, employees are gonna mess something up. So. But that's good. That's what I was going to say next. Make sure you're driving one of them, so at least you're making yourself money. I'm getting the Classic rebuilt and drive myself, hopefully in the future, finding drivers for both. Yeah. You just got to realize, like, if you're making yourself $80,000, or say you're pocketing $80,000 to $100,000 for one of those trucks. Well, once you step out of that truck, now you got to pay a driver for that, which in my industry, drivers make $80,000, $60,000 to $80,000 a year. So now that factor kind of changes. It goes down real quick. So that's why I never stepped out of the truck, is because even though I had 5 trucks, you know, for me stepping out, I was costing myself $80,000 of salary that I could be making myself just by driving. So that's why I never did it. But yeah, I mean, with the right contracts, and if you're okay making $1,000 a week when you got 2 trucks running, you're not working, and you can live off that, then I wouldn't hold that against anybody. John, Hudson Valley. Good evening. It's worth leasing with Mega Company. Mega. Good evening. It's worth leasing with Mega Company. John Hudson. I'm trying to understand what you want to re-ask me that question. Which mega company, or what do you mean by that? Is it worth leasing with? Yeah, if you're purchasing your own truck and leasing onto them. D's Road, where's the most you paid in taxes as a single owner operator? $20,000 a year is the most I paid in taxes. Or I would say 15. Not so I had a stupid accountant that didn't write stuff off properly, and ended up costing me about $25,000 in taxes for the year. And I was just a single owner operator, because some of these tax accountants you got to watch out for. You got to find ones that understand business, for one. I know it's crazy. They don't understand business. And then they understand the trucking industry and depreciation. That's a big thing. Because I had bought in a $40,000 truck, and they didn't even depreciate it. They depreciated like a quarter of it. And then I ended up having to owe $25,000, and then later on I amended it. Took a couple of years to amend it, and then from there I ended up getting that 25 down to about $8,000. But I had still paid like $5,000 over the couple of years that we were fighting it. So yeah, I would say basically about 15 grand. That's pretty, but I mean, if you're grossing 180, that's not bad. EMS, hi. How's it going? Let's see. D's World, what do you think about 1099 company job? I just started working one. If it works for you, it works for you. It's a lot easier on your boss, for sure. Like, if I could 1099 everybody that worked for me, that'd be great. But it just depends on you. You're gonna have to file your own taxes. So, or you're not gonna have tax taken out. So just make sure you can build up some write-offs, or or find things that can be wrote off, for sure, because your employer's not going to be taking those taxes from you. 1099 is fine. I know guys that they love doing 1099. I know guys that don't like. They just like a W-2. They like the company to take out the taxes, and that's fine. But then you don't get all the write-offs. So just make sure you can maybe come up with some write-offs. Boots, shirts, hats, gloves, whatever you got to have for that job. John Hudson, sorry, like going to Prime and leasing a truck with them instead of going in and staying as company driver. Okay, so this is going to get controversial, but I made a video about predatory leases, meaning companies that want you to basically lease to own the truck, and they don't want to pay you very good, and then you get trapped because you're broke and you're unable to basically make enough money to leave. A company like Prime, I think they're going to be one of those. leasing a truck with a big company like that is you're probably going to be paying way too much for it, and you're not going to be making enough profit to really be benefiting as an owner operator. That would fall into that predatory lease category. So I would suggest financing your own truck and then leasing on to a smaller carrier, not a mega carrier. Mega carriers are not going to pay the best because they've got thousands of drivers. And they're so big that they have a pool that they can pull from. Even though they're having a hard time finding drivers too. I mean, their rates are going up as well, but yeah, I would not lease on to Prime if you can help it. Just my own advice, if it makes comfort, man, by all be, and you feel like you're making enough money, but there are better opportunities out there to finance your own truck and then lease on to a smaller company as an owner operator. Okay, Abdurrazak, I'm so sorry for butchering your name. Abdurrazak Gur just bought a 17 Cascadia, put 2 years warranty on it, but only got $5,000 in maintenance. You think that's enough? Just bought 2-year warranty on it, but only got $5,000 in maintenance. You think that's enough? Well, you did it, man. So you got to make it work now. You want more money saved up for sure. You probably want 10 or 15. Like I was telling the other guy, you definitely want 15, 10 or 15 grand, 15 being the minimum, or 10 being the minimum, 15 being a happy place, and 20 being you're good. So I would be careful about warranties as well. I bought a truck. I spent $5,000 on a warranty. The DEF pump went out, and the DEF pump was clearly on the warranty. I took it back to the dealership. I basically got a call from Freightliner. They said, hey, your warranty isn't covered. I said, what the heck do you mean my warranty isn't covered? I just spent $5,000 on this warranty, and it is a DEF pump. And they said, well, it wasn't the DEF pump that failed. It was a gasket that led to the DEF pump failing. And if you look on the fine print, they try to get out of warranties from gaskets, seals, valves. Like there's a lot of stipulations there. So they basically screwed me on the warranty because they claim the gasket caused the failure. And then I called that warranty company. I said, hey, what's the percentage of claims you guys actually pay out? And they said, oh, it's about 10%. So I said, okay, so you screw 90% of your clientele out of the warranty. And then they got all mad at me and hung up. So be careful with that. I wouldn't say, I'm not going to say warranties are not worth it, but warranties definitely, they have fine print to protect themselves because their job is not to pay you on that warranty because that's how they make their money. And yeah, so just be aware of that. Don't rely on that warranty 100% unless it's a factory warranty. If it's a factory Freightliner warranty, you're probably a lot safer. But if it's some type of third-party BS, I don't get warranties. D's World, I'm just working 1099 company to stack up money to get me a truck. Man, got to get the job, get it done, right? Just got to get the job done, man. I understand. If it's making money, then make that money and then invest it in something to make you more money, being a truck or whatever else you want to do. So, I can't knock that at all. At least you're making money, man, right? I mean, that's kind of, we're all lucky to be making money right now. Not as much as we like to be, or not as much as we were, but we're still surviving. All right. Let's see. Anthony, don't be lazy on a 1099. That's true. You don't want to be lazy on that, man. What do you talk? I guess. What do you mean by being lazy? By not paying your tax at the end of the year, or as far as an owner doing the 1099? Let's see here. Leonard Holland. Anyway, I would DM me on Instagram, and I gotta find a proper way to talk to some of you guys. Maybe do some consultations, for like 30 minutes or so, 15 or 30 minutes. But yeah, definitely a DM me on Instagram, Make Money Trucking, and I will look at my Instagram more, so I'm easier to get hold of through Instagram, and we can potentially set something up. Because a lot of it just has to be timing, honestly. Let's see. D's World, F lease, low cost of operating is best. Yes. Yeah, don't lease to own the truck. If that's what you mean by that, D. Yeah, you don't want to lease to own through a big carrier like Prime. That you ain't gonna make that any money. But if you're leasing it as a finance option on your own, then that's not horrible. But yeah, if you're leasing to own through the company, you don't want to do that. Let's see here. Agdurac, it's a Freightliner warranty. Bought the truck through Select Truck. All right. Well, forget everything I said about the warranty stuff, because if you got an actual Freightliner warranty, you're probably good to go. But if it's third party, guys, stay away from those warranties. Unless you specifically know, like, hey, my buddy over here had this warranty. He had this go wrong. He had it sent to the shop. They paid out, no problem. But the common thing is that warranty companies are kind of like scam artists. They're there to make money. They're not there to pay you the money, just like insurance companies. They don't want to pay the money out. They just want you to pay for the coverage. Anthony Goldzon, exactly, spending all the money and thinking you're going to get out of paying. Oh yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, you gotta be careful about that, man. You don't want them IRS problems, because those guys, they'll find you, and they'll never find you when they'll find you in the worst potential shape too. It'll be like you'll be down in the dirt somewhere, and that's when they'll find you, and you're like, man, this is like the worst time for you guys to find me. Yep. Yeah. That's funny, Anthony. Yeah, you're right, man. You don't want to mess around with that. Let's see here.